Hello? Is that working? All right, I have no idea. Okay, it's working. Okay, I guess we're going to get started. So if you're here to learn about Bitcoin and gaming, you're in the right place. So my name is Desiree Dickerson. I am CEO. Oops, one second, guys. That's fine. Ew. I thought this had my notes, but that's okay. Anyways, my name is Desiree Dickerson, and I am CEO of Thunder Games. And at Thunder, we are bringing the world Bitcoin through play. We actually consider ourselves more of an adoption company, and we're really just using mobile games as a tool to introduce the world to Bitcoin. I know this conference is all about adoption, so I actually want to talk about bringing Bitcoin into gaming from two attack vectors. One, just introducing Bitcoin to the gaming industry, and also talking about how does Bitcoin gaming actually change the world. So first and foremost, I want to talk about what Bitcoin can do for gaming. So once upon a time, you actually couldn't or didn't really make sense to add Bitcoin to games. Obviously, we all know about the scaling problem. Slow, costs a lot of money, just didn't make a lot of sense. But then luckily, with the advent of the Lightning Network and cheap, instant, borderless transactions, it made adding Bitcoin to gaming possible. And it's really the fact that you can add microtransactions to the games that made that possible, which is all great. Love adding Bitcoin to games, but why? So at Thunder, a lot of times we say, why would you ever ruin a good game with Bitcoin? Which I understand sounds like it's the antithesis of how we should approach this industry. But our product philosophy at Thunder is all about problems and always solving problems or 10xing a solution. So when we first started Thunder, we wanted to think a lot about what problems in the games industry can we actually solve? And there's three major ones that we identified. Again, we are not focusing on all three of these or even most of these problems, but these are the three areas in which Bitcoin can really add a lot of value to the games industry. The first is with players. I am sure everybody in this room has played a video game before. And what has been really happened with players is that there is this incredibly powerful one-way value sync between gaming companies and players. So if you're playing a game, you're going and you're buying a console, which can be very pricey, or you're buying a gaming PC, so spending thousands of dollars on a decent gaming PC. Great, okay, we've been doing that for years. And then on top of that, you're buying the game, again, doing that for years. But traditionally, those are the two steps. And sure, I pay my money, but I also derive some type of entertainment or joy from playing the games. But how the industry has progressed in the last couple decades, it's that value sync has gotten even larger. So for instance, now there are monthly subscriptions. I have a monthly subscription to Nintendo and to PlayStation just in order to access most of the games online. And then on top of that, now there is a lot of in-game content that you have to purchase on top of all this in order to access parts of the game or really just partake in any gameplay. And so that's a lot in and of itself, but then over the past year, I would say, there's been this very strong emergence of immersive advertising and marketing. And if you're not familiar, this is when in a game there's some type of ad or a brand is very prominent in the game, but it's not on a billboard. It is just part of the player experience, and that's become really popular. But what's the problem with that is that these players are interacting with the ads, obviously subconsciously making a lot of consumer decisions based on these ads. And these gaming companies are profiting, and the users are not actually deriving any additional value from the more value they're creating from the games. So again, the value sync just increases. And with Bitcoin, there's a possibility to really level the playing field, and this is what we do at Thunder. We make money from ads as much as people hate them, or sometimes they like them, and we make money from in-app purchases, and we're able to take a part of that purchase, or part of the revenue from that purchase, and share that with our user. And our users are playing longer, they're spending more time interacting with ads, and generally we actually make more money after giving users a little bit of our revenue. Also in esports, obviously everyone knows esports is a huge industry. It's well over $1 billion industry, but there's a lot of inequity in esports. The players who are the best, those are the only people who can really participate, and those are the only people who can win. So we're talking like $40 million prizes in Dota 2. Like, this isn't just chump change. But with microtransactions and divisible money, like, infinitely divisible money, we are able to actually widen the prize distribution, allow more people to participate in these tournaments, and with more participation, there's actually more revenue for these esports companies, and so everybody is winning in this scenario. This past weekend, we had 1,500 people participate in our mobile games tournament, and we were giving out people 1 sat as a prize, and this incentivizes them to come back week after week. So that's just really with players. And then we have creators. So we all know the creator economy has grown rapidly over the past couple of years. There's a lot of people in this space who are addressing fair compensation for creators. We have, Podcasting, Breeze, Fountain, lots of stuff going on there, Stacker News, just new ways to compensate this new class of content creators. And microtransactions make that possible. However, I do know microtransactions in games are very controversial. We won't get into it, but Dota 2's auction house was like a huge drama, lots of player pushback. But as this industry evolves, creators become a more integral part to the gaming industry. If we look at Roblox alone, Roblox has 115 million monthly active users. That is staggering. But what's even crazier is that that community is creating 2 billion hours of in-game content monthly. So 2 billion hours of playable content every single month. And most of these creators are not being compensated at all for this content, and these companies are making money hand over fist. Imagine with Bitcoin if there was a way we can compensate these creators. Not to mention, most of these creators in Roblox are under the age of 18. I don't know much about child labor laws, but it seems like kind of sus. Just gonna put it out there. Similarly, everyone is probably familiar with EA or Electronic Arts. Again, their creator community creates more content than their in-house studio maxis, which is pretty crazy. If you've played Sims before, you are more likely to interact with in-game content that's been created by someone in the community more frequently than content that's been created by their studio, which is wild. So Bitcoin obviously can help here. Another aspect in gaming that Bitcoin can really help is developers and indie studios. There are some non-sexy parts of this. One that, I don't know, if you're a game developer, this is impactful. In mobile games, you actually don't see any of your revenue for 30 days after or 90 days after you've made that. So if someone makes an in-app purchase or views an ad, we don't see any of that revenue for 90 days for a lot of reasons, but mostly, it's the bureaucratic traditional fiat rails who makes it really difficult for us to get paid. And this is a huge operational challenge when you are a small studio or an indie developer. This industry is just fraught with loan sharks and people who are just trying to take advantage of individuals because they know that they need money to cover their bills before those 90 days are up and they see any of their revenue. So Bitcoin, again, has the potential to fix this. Again, another one that's pretty obvious is the walled gardens. Everyone's probably familiar with the Epic and Apple lawsuit that's going on. The App Store takes around 15 to 30%, anywhere between that, for your revenue in your games, which is quite a bit. And again, what is Bitcoin about other than circumventing central intermediaries? I realize this one has a lot of red tape, but it will take a while, but the potential is definitely there. But the one tool for developers or problem that we can really solve for developers with Bitcoin that I'm the most passionate about is enabling developers and indie studios to really drive engagement and retention with their audiences. So for us, we, like I said, just give out Bitcoin rewards. You can win Bitcoin in our games. And with that, we have insane amounts of increased engagement and retention. If we look at long-term retention with our users, we've A/B tested it, and adding Bitcoin to our games actually improves long-term retention by over 500%, which is insane. Stickiness scores are climbing well over 20%, which is already much higher than the traditional gaming industry. Awesome, wonderful. Bitcoin obviously makes sense for games, but why? I'm spending my entire life on this 14 hours a day, and ideally there is a greater goal, and that greater goal is bringing Bitcoin to the world, financial access, and economic empowerment. But in order to do that, it's all about adoption, right? I've been working in Bitcoin and Lightning full-time for about 5 years now, and we all know there's a huge onboarding problem that's really kind of making it difficult, one of the many things that's making it difficult for adoption. So I've really thought a lot about this. I've looked at what's working in Bitcoin, what's not, what's working in other communities, especially early on. I know we hate shitcoins, but Solana, Ethereum, they do something right in the beginning. They are attracting users, they are attracting developers, so what are they doing? And I've really broken it down into 3 main tenets for optimized onboarding. And those are ease, safety, and fun. And this is a framework I think is really important, really important to put on Bitcoin adoption. So I want everybody to think about the first time they ever bought Bitcoin. Was it easy? I bet not. You had to go to an exchange. Who knows if it's a good exchange? Probably not. These days, it's very scary. You have to upload your passport, you have to take a selfie, and then you basically have to sacrifice your newborn just to open an account. That is not easy. That is not easy at all. And then we think about safety, and with safety we think about risk. So I'm in this really weird environment. There's all this crazy stuff happening in the news. This is a volatile asset, and then you're asking me to put my hard-earned fiat put that on the exchange, which is very scary. I know we hate fiat, but it is very important to a lot of people. So actually having to put your own money on the line to get this volatile asset already in this risky place is a huge mental leap for people. Why would you ever do that? I should never recommend anyone to do that. It's very, very scary. And then is this fun? We don't even have to talk about this. Obviously, it is not fun. So this is what I see as a huge, huge problem, and that is why I think games, specifically mobile games, have the potential to fix a lot of what is wrong with the onboarding process to Bitcoin right now. If we just look at mobile games to begin with, it is an app. Everybody here has an app. And I want to see a raise of hands is how many people have a mobile game on their phone? Okay, if your hand is not raised, I shun you. You need to go down thunder right now. But see, we've all done it before. It's very, very familiar. It is easy. That is a flow we are all familiar with. We should definitely look to familiar user flows and use that for onboarding. Is it safe? I hate Apple. I hate Google. Oh my God, I am dealing with them every single day. But there's one great thing about the App Store and Google Play. Those are environments everyone is familiar with. Those are environments that feel safe to the everyday person, and that's fine, and it offers something, and that's why I'm proud that our games are available in both of those app stores. So it does have an element of safety. And then when we talked about earlier spending your hard-earned fiat money, with mobile games, you don't need to do that. With our games, you download, you play, you win, and you have your first sats, which is incredibly powerful, and you're free to do whatever you want with those. And is it fun? I know I've talked to several people at this conference, and they have yelled at me for their productivity going down since we launched Solitaire. So you can tell me it's not fun, but I beg to differ. And so really, games check the box for all of these tenets of optimized onboarding, and really games do this in general. I do think mobile has much less friction than console or PC gaming, but there's a lot of power here. But again, mobile. I was not into mobile games before Thunder. I hate to say it, but I just wasn't. So why mobile? It is all about reach. With mobile, it is possible to reach new demographics. It's possible to reach new markets. And what's even more important, that it is possible to reach people who need Bitcoin the most. And that's who I care about onboarding, is the people who need Bitcoin the most. And by them needing Bitcoin the most, I mean financial access and economic empowerment. And mobile devices is really that channel for doing that. So if we look at global mobile penetration rates over the past 10 years, they have soared upwards of 80%. So that means 80% of people worldwide have access to a mobile device. The past 10 years, we've seen a lot of this growth happening in emerging markets and most recently developing countries. So if 80% of people worldwide have phones, what else do they have? They have access to accessible, low-cost gaming in the palm of their hand. They have a portal to gaming that they never had before. Before, most of the world couldn't buy an Xbox. Most of the world couldn't buy a high-end gaming PC, so they could not game. Mobile has really provided an avenue for everyone to participate in the gaming industry. And especially those individuals in emerging markets and developing countries. And we've actually seen this over the past few years. The mobile industry has grown rapidly. 60% of the entire gaming market is mobile. So mobile makes up more of the gaming market than console and PC gaming combined, and it's just continues to grow. Then in general, we just see a ton of really interesting market trends towards mobile. There's a ton of AAA titles that you would never expect on a mobile device that are being reformatted for mobile. So Call of Duty is now on mobile. If folks are familiar with Genshin Impact, I'm probably not pronouncing it right, but love the game. That is like what you would expect to be a really big platformer. It is on mobile, and it is a great game. Additionally, just like looking at like the business environment, there's been a ton of mergers and acquisitions over the past year. Most notably, Take-Two, if you're familiar, they did the Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto series. They acquired Zynga, most famous for Farmville, but also a massively popular and successful gaming studio. So again, as we can just in general see, the future of gaming is transitioning to mobile. People don't want to be tied down to their computer or a device. They want to be on the go, and they want to be playing games. So if everybody has a phone, everybody has the ability to game, we can really start focusing on these new audiences, namely for us, emerging markets in developing countries, as well as women. So why are these two audiences so important for Thunder Games? We truly believe that these individuals need or deserve Bitcoin the most and are really underrepresented when it comes to financial access and economic empowerment. If we just kind of look at numbers of unbanked and underbanked, the MENA region, 50% is unbanked. Latin America, 33% unbanked. APAC region, 24%. And I mean, I know this doesn't fall within this audience, but in the US, 10% of the population is unbanked, and 25% of the population in the US is underbanked, which is pretty shocking, but these are real numbers. But what is great is there is hope. We talked about a lot of this growth with just mobile happening in these emerging markets in developing countries because they have access to phones. But what is crazy is that a lot of the growth in the mobile games industry is also happening in emerging markets in developing countries. So the mobile game market is expected to grow to $66 billion by 2026, and all of this growth is being driven by these audiences. 43% of that growth is expected to come from the APAC region. Last year, India made up 12% of all mobile downloads in all of the stores, and Latin America over the next 4 years is expected to see a 10.5 compound annual growth rate, which is a ton of growth. So if these individuals now have phones and they're all playing mobile games to the point where they're driving this market's growth, can we bring them Bitcoin through these games? And the answer is yes. Just at Thunder, 30% of our users are in Latin America right now. Moving on, similarly, another audience, women, traditionally underserved when it comes to financial empowerment. If you look at the global unbanked and underbanked, which is 1.7 billion people, 1 billion are women, and if you do not have access to financial tools, you do not have the ability to save, you don't have the ability to conduct business, and generally, you do not have the ability to engage freely in a formal economy. So this is incredibly important. But again, with this audience, there is hope, and these numbers are crazy. So yes, most women have access to a phone, but you would be surprised because 63% of all women are playing mobile games, which that is not what you would expect, I'm sure. And 60% of those women play mobile games every day. So we would consider them hardcore mobile gamers. And so if these women are playing mobile games, is there a way that we can bring them to Bitcoin, where we can show them what the future of finance looks like through these mobile games? And the answer is yes. Another interesting stat is that these women actually tend to lean on the older side, which is 35 to 50, which is, I wouldn't consider that older, but that's what the research says. It burns a little bit, but I gotta tell you guys this. So people's moms are playing mobile games. I bet you your moms are. My mom was not even Thunder games. I was shocked. But we hear accounts of moms breastfeeding and playing mobile games because they're just really quick, they're easy, and the content is, more open and accessible to women. We also have grandmas who are constantly playing our game, and they're very vocal in customer support. So if all these women are playing mobile games, we can bring them Bitcoin through mobile games. Awesome. So through Bitcoin rewards, we can make it easy, or Bitcoin rewards in mobile games, we can make it fun and easy to introduce these new audiences to Bitcoin and usher these individuals to financial freedom. And this is exactly what we're doing at Thunder. There are 3 billion people in the world who are playing mobile games, and if we can introduce them to an in-game currency that has real-world value, we can ultimately introduce them to sound money that will save them. Awesome. So I guess we've got it figured out. We've got onboarding figured out. Hopefully we get the masses to adopt Bitcoin. But actually, what now? I have heard so many times Bitcoin gaming is trivial. Like, people brush us off all the time. And I've been told so many times it's very offensive that I don't take Bitcoin seriously, which is not the truth. But what I actually don't take seriously is this ecosystem's foolish assumptions that the world is going to onboard themselves. We expect people to wake up and say, gee, guess what? I'm really passionate about sound money now. Let me go get some Bitcoin. Or, hey, I woke up this morning and I'm really, really looking to be self-sovereign. Let me go get some Bitcoin. It's just not going to happen, guys. Like, people don't care about Bitcoin. Like, I hate to break it to you, but people don't care. They don't have time to care. And without these people caring and onboarding to Bitcoin, this network is not going to scale. So how can we fix this? And how we do that is by meeting users where they are. And we can do this through Bitcoin games. 80% of our users, and I'll say it again, 80% of our users are completely new to Bitcoin. Our games are their first exposure to their first sats. They come, they download the game, they play, they win. Once they win, they have skin in the game, and they download a wallet, and boom, a Bitcoiner is born. So After this, I just ask everyone to reconsider this use case as an incredibly powerful tool for introducing everyone you know to Bitcoin, and also introducing your users to your product, to your company, to your business. You don't have to do it through games. There are really cool ways to use Bitcoin gamified incentives to bring users to your platform. Happy to talk about it with folks afterwards. But yes, I say this after every talk, like, look around you guys, the world is absolutely burning. It is a shit show out there. And everyone in this room is all right. Like, we all have bought Bitcoin, but the people at home, your friends, your family, they're at risk. And you need to save them, and you need to bring them to Bitcoin. And you can simply do that by sending them Thunder games. So help us save the world and play Thunder.